get started. Not going to take too much of your time today. Just really want to talk with you about some tips and tricks for cover letters. Before I dive too much farther in, my name is W. Casey. I'm with the Business Career Center. Have any of you been inside our office before? Perfect. Good. So we're located in 114 Business Building. We're happy to read through your cover letters, full 30 minutes, sit down, go line by line with you. So highly encourage you to take advantage of the resources that are available to you, including our office. So we're going to go through some just very generic tips and tricks here for your cover letter. Please feel free to ask me any questions that you have. I do want to be mindful of our time. We are going to finish right at or shortly before 5 o'clock. And then I'll be sticking around as well, so feel free to ask questions at that point as well, okay? So first off, a lot of questions that we receive is, do I absolutely need a cover letter? Really, that depends on you and what type of brand that you want to give off. So sometimes we will see that they are optional for a lot of our job postings within A-Line Careers. A lot of times they will not even give you an opportunity to do so. Really, it's just up to you. If it is optional and you really want to go ahead and submit a cover letter, this can be a really good differentiating factor for you compared to some of your peers. But keep in mind that a poorly written cover letter could potentially be the reason why you're not hired as well. So that's why we really want you to feel comfortable and confident with your document before you actually submit anything, okay? So how many of you, before we get too much further, how many of you have a cover letter written? Okay, do you feel comfortable with it, confident with it?
I just don't know how to gauge it, really.
Cool,
Yeah,
all right.
effective or not.
Great start. So for those of you who do not have a cover letter written, these can be very tricky documents. But essentially, it is more of a narrative format of your resume, right? We don't want to just regurgitate all those facts that we have in your resume, because then I, as a recruiter, I learn nothing else about you. But this is your chance in a cover letter to really pull together some of those stories and some of those experiences that you have and you really want to highlight from your resume and really bolster your candidacy by saying, I have all these great skills. Let me show you how I've been able to demonstrate those. So that's what a cover letter can be. So as we mentioned, we don't want to just copy your resume. We're going to learn nothing else about you. But this is your chance to really kind of put in front of the recruiter or put right in front of the HR manager the fact that you have the skills and qualifications necessary, and not only that, but you've been able to demonstrate those in your past. So that's how we can do this and what we can do in this cover letter. Don't want to list line by line everything from the resume, but pick a couple highlights, a couple of the key experiences that you had in your experience in your past that will help to differentiate you from your peers, right? If you are applying for a job within tax advisory, talk about all those different experiences that you have with tax advisory. Don't just rely on your resume to do all the talking. This is your opportunity to really bolster that up and write very clearly and effectively that you have these tax advisory experiences and skills. So really it's up to you to determine how in depth you want to go. But as we say later on, these are only one page, right? We want you to use the full page as much as you want, but you're going to be turning in that one page regardless. So if you want to stop at half a page, that's up to you. But there are going to be some of your peers who are going to be utilizing the entire document, entire page, in order to be as comprehensive as possible. Down here, convey your enthusiasm and your confidence. We cannot express this enough. Too often we see cover letters that are written from a place of begging. You know, please, I hope you consider me. I hope that you think that I'm qualified for this. Do away with that. We want you to be confident in your story. So go in and say, I am confident that my qualifications allow me to succeed in this role. Or say, I'm a firm believer in the mission and vision that you have and know that for a fact that I can contribute to that successfully from day one. So that confidence really does go a long way for you. And we highly encourage you to change a couple words within your document to really espouse that confidence. Make sense? Good. So this is just a very brief sample here in the document up here. It's a little bit hard to read, but this is on our website as well. And we go into what should these paragraphs actually entail. So the very first paragraph here, let's see, the very first paragraph, really just that introduction. Really want to introduce yourself very quickly. Don't want to spend too much time on your entire story, that you were born and raised in this city and what day you were born. All that stuff is unnecessary. Just come in very quickly, say, hi, my name is this. I am a junior accounting student in Penn State University. Really excited to apply for this position that I found on your website, or I spoke with your recruiters at a career fair with. Really excited to submit my application materials. I think that, and then go into those qualifications that you think should really enhance your candidacy. So looking at the job description, what are those qualifications that they're looking for in a candidate? How can you bring to light the fact that you have those specific experiences? Right up the very first paragraph, right? Again, it just puts it right in front of the recruiter to say, if I'm looking for a candidate with A, B, and C qualities, and you tell me in your first paragraph of your cover letter that you have A, B, and C qualities, I'm intrigued. I'm going to continue reading this, okay? So be as upfront with that as possible. Moving on to the middle paragraph, this is the meat of the cover letter. So just as we talk about the bullet points being the most important part about a resume, the second and third potential paragraphs, so basically the body of the cover letter, are the most important part about the cover letter. This is where you get to actually talk about your experiences in that narrative format. This is where you get to explain yourself in more of a story, to actually talk about how you've been able to gain these experiences and how you've been able to demonstrate those experiences. And brag a little bit along the way, right? Just as we talk about within your resume, how are you demonstrating your results, your experiences to the recruiters, so they actually know what you've been able to do. That's what you can do in the middle paragraph. Then the closing, again, just really quick hitting, thank them for the time, still instill that confidence in the recruiters that you know you have what it takes to come in and succeed from day one, and you look forward to hearing from them, and then sign off. So it's, in essence, it's a really simple document, but the meat of it, that's where it really becomes tricky for you all. So this is what should be in the cover letter, right? It's a standard business format. So we have the date, we have the salutation. Oftentimes we'll ask you to put the address, or you should put the address of the company in there. Just makes it a little bit more formalized. And then go into those introduction paragraphs, body paragraphs, and then the closing. And then your signature and your name. If you want to, I always encourage students to just copy and paste what you have for your resume right at the very top of your cover letter. This has all the contact information for you. It kind of sets the pace of the cover letter, and it makes your documents look mirrored. So it looks like you are well put together. So that attention to detail can certainly come into play there. So I encourage you to think about adding that into the header of your cover letter. After that, go into just as what we would have on a standard business letter. Have the date, so that's the month, the day of the year, and then you start out any letter or any email. Dear so-and-so. If you know who the recruiter is, so you know the person who's going to be reading this, absolutely put their name. Put their last name obviously up there. Don't ever guess someone's marriage status. So always put MR for a man, put MS for a woman. Don't ever guess their marriage status unless you absolutely know. And then, like I said, if you know the person's name, go ahead and put that in there. It looks very strong, and it looks, again, like you have done your research, you know exactly what you need to do. But if you don't, you can just simply put hiring manager or hiring committee. This still gets the point across. I don't necessarily encourage you to put to whom it may concern. It just seems a little cold. So do whatever you can to warm it up a little bit like this. Any questions so far before we get into the meat of this? Cool. So as we're talking about, the introduction paragraph should be very quick hitting, right? You want to include the full name of the company, the full name of the position that you are applying for, and actually make sure that you have this correctly. Sometimes we've heard horror stories from students who just copy and paste from a previous cover letter and did not check this. So make sure that if you're applying to EY, you actually put EY in there as opposed to Deloitte. That could be a very easy way to negate your candidacy there. Moving on, obviously talk about how you heard about this opportunity. If you spoke with someone at the career fair, great. If you had an opportunity to learn about them as a company through a class or an information session or a student organization involvement opportunity, go ahead and put that in there, because it allows you to be a bit more personable within this letter, and allows the recruiter, whoever's reading this, to really understand kind of you're committed to this role. So it's not like you just found this, if you have an opportunity to say that you spoke with someone in person, it's not like you just found this randomly on a website. You actually went committed the time, dedicated your experience to go talk with them. And that's going to certainly help you. Context for why you decided to apply for this position. Again, this is kind of where you can hark back to your specific qualifications to say that if company A is looking for someone with great leadership experience, great communication, and great organization skills, go ahead and put that in there and say, I believe with my leadership, organization, and communication skills, I have what it takes. I have what it takes to come in here and help you all succeed from day one. Right off the bat, that's going to set the tone. That's going to make you sound confident, and it's going to show to the recruiter that you have done the research. You know what's expected of this candidate stepping into this role, and you have what that takes. So moving on, this is just a sample paragraph. Obviously, I'm not going to read this to you, but this is what something could sound like, right? And this, even to me, is a little bit longer. I would say at most maybe 3 to 4 sentences. Really try to be as quick hitting as possible because you want to have the most amount of space and most amount of time in your cover letter dedicated to those middle paragraphs. Okay? So then we get into those middle paragraphs. Again, the body, the meat of this cover letter. Really want to focus in on how can you demonstrate your experiences and how can you showcase that you have these skills. In more of a way than just listing it out, right? Too often we see cover letters, students coming in, they're just repeating what they have on their resume as if that adds anything else, but it doesn't. Pick a couple key things in your experience, in your past, that you really want to expand on. This is your opportunity to actually show the recruiter in a story that you have demonstrated these experiences and you have succeeded in demonstrating these experiences. So that's where I really encourage you to be very picky and choosy on what you want to include because you obviously don't have enough space to talk about everything on your resume. So do what you can to really highlight a couple key things that you are very proud of or something that really relates to the actual job description. So what I always like to say is this second paragraph, really think about that those necessary qualifications. So a lot of times there'll be required qualifications and preferred qualifications in a given job description. Have you all seen those before? You know kind of what I'm talking about? Good. So this is a good opportunity for you to say, I have everything that is required of me as a candidate in that first paragraph. And say, go through some of those key things. Obviously, sometimes they list 10 different qualifications. Pick 2 or 3 and really focus in on those. Say, I have this, I've been able to demonstrate that by doing this. And actually expand upon that. The second paragraph, so we say paragraphs 2 through 4. So this could be number 2, we'll be talking about the required. Number 3, we'll be talking about the preferred. And again, think about how much space and time you have available to you. Typically, well-written cover letters, you're only going to get 4 paragraphs. So this third paragraph, that's where you can talk about kind of outside of those required qualifications. I also have some of these preferred experiences. Does that make sense? Really spend the time talking about those in just a different way. And that way you are being very logical and methodical in your approach to say that I am very well qualified because of these experiences. And then paragraph 2, you talk about that. Paragraph 3, you expand upon that. And then paragraph 4, you're already done. So really think about how you can highlight some of those proud accomplishments that you have. Again, really, really want to express your genuine enthusiasm and confidence. Don't just list all this stuff and think that I, as a recruiter, I'm going to be able to connect the dots. I want you to connect the dots for me. If you say I've been able to demonstrate my leadership experiences through these student organizations or through this previous internship, great, tell me that, but also then tell me how excited you are to apply those skills directly to this company, or how ready you are and how eager you are to, again, help this company achieve their goals. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Companies are looking to hire you all specifically to step in, help them achieve their goals. So while we read a lot of cover letters and say this internship will give you a lot of great experience, they know that, but that's not what they're looking to hire you for. They're looking to hire you to be able to come in and help them achieve their goals. And you're going to get some good experiences along the way. Does that make sense? So whatever you can do to connect the dots for the recruiter, do that. Go ahead and say that and say, I know a candidate or I know an individual stepping into this role will need to have leadership experience to succeed. I have this leadership experience, and tell me how you've been able to demonstrate that. Just because you say you have leadership experience or communication or organization or technical skills or anything like that doesn't make me believe it. But through these paragraphs and through these stories, that's how I'm able to actually see that you do correctly have those. Does that make sense? Good. So this is again what a sample of that could look like. Again, we're trying to hit on all of those key things, really trying to highlight some of those key accomplishments that I have on my resume, and then connect that to this company and help them achieve their goals and whatever that job description allows me to do so. So then after we get done talking about that meat of the cover letter, we go right into the closing. So again, talk about that you are confident that your experiences are applicable and more say allow you to be successful in this role. And then sign off and say, I'm confident that my qualifications allow me to do this. I look forward to hearing from you, or I look forward to discussing my resume further. And then sign off, and that's it. So the last one is kind of your just general wrap up. If you wanted to, this is a great opportunity to bring in any research that you have done with the company. So bring in the mission of the company, bring in any personal experience you have with the company, whether that's through conversations at career fairs or conversations through information sessions or just whatever you know about the company. Say that this company really does a good job of providing educational or professional development opportunities for their employees. Say, I know that this company values their educating their employees. I also value this, and I think that's a great match between my values and this company. So it allows them to know not only are you qualified for this role, but you are interested and eager to be part of this company's culture. So that could be a good opportunity, again, to showcase your strength, that you have connected those dots for this company. And then sign off and say, I look forward to hearing from you, provide some additional contact information, and then, sincerely or best wishes, and that's it, and have your name there. So the last paragraph is not that difficult. First paragraph is not that difficult. Again, the meat of this cover letter is within those second, third, and fourth potential paragraphs. And really doing whatever you can to relate your experiences to the job description and identifying your confidence, showcasing that within this cover letter. So again, this is the sample there. And again, when we talk about you're expressing your enthusiasm, expressing your confidence, it can be as simple as, I am confident that I can contribute to this company. As simple as that, right? Again, too often we just see cover letters that come in and say, please, I hope that you consider me qualified for this role. If so, I look forward to hearing from you. Get rid of that. Have the confidence. If you don't have confidence in yourself to accomplish this job, then I, as a recruiter, I'm not going to have that confidence in you. So this is your chance to really bolster that up. And if I read something like this, compared to someone who is coming from that place of begging that I talked about, easily, we're going to go with this candidate, okay? So as I talked about, you can say at the very end, sincerely, respectfully, best regards, thank you, whatever it is you want to do, just have something on the very end there. And as we have on the tip here, handwritten signatures really kind of polishes that up and really kind of makes it as professional as it can be. So if you have an opportunity, go ahead and either print out your cover letter, sign it, and then scan it back in so that way you can upload that document. Or if you wanted to, you can have just a blank sheet of paper, sign your name a dozen different times, and then scan that sheet in. Cut whichever signature that you like the best, and use that signature for all these different cover letters. And it'll just be save it as an image and then insert the image there. It just looks nice and clean and professional. Again, not required. No one's going to toss your cover letter just because of that. But it could be a good opportunity for you to look a little bit more polished than some of your peers. Make sense? So now the boring stuff here. Make sure that the font and the style of the resume is similar to your the cover letter is similar to your resume. So I'm always a big fan of keeping it the exact same font and the exact same size. Obviously with this one you can change the size a little bit differently just because you don't want to end 3/4 of a page down if you are doing 10 or 10.5 size font on your resume. Just do whatever you can to fill up the entire page. That is your page to use, but use the same font style. Make sure it's obviously in Word or PDF. We do see a lot of pages for those of you who are working on Macs. Make sure that you save it as a Word or a PDF. And then, like I said before, you can certainly use the same exact header that you have for your resume onto your cover letter. It just makes your documents look a little bit more complete. All right? So, as I mentioned earlier, we are at the Business Career Center more than happy to walk you through your cover letter line by line, word for word, and meet with you as many times as it takes to have you be comfortable and have you be confident in your professional story. And that's what this really is. So if you have any opportunity, if you want us to take a look at it, schedule an appointment with us through Mainline Careers. We can meet with you for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. We can meet with you multiple times in a week or every other week. Doesn't matter. We're here to help you with anything and everything, okay? So with that, any questions? All kind of makes sense? Was this helpful for you all? Good. Glad to hear that. Yes, sir.
Depending on the industry, so like this example was consulting, right?
Mhm.
If you're looking at like something highly technical,
Mhm.
would the cover letter, the format be any different?
It wouldn't be any different. I think just the bodies of the meat of the paragraph, bring in those technical skills. So if you're applying for a position that requires you to utilize certain software programs, put in there that you have use of all these experiences. It may not necessarily be as fluffy as some of these, but it's the exact same concept. Talk about the skills that you have, bring up the stories that allow you to demonstrate those and allows you to be successful using those, and then continue on with the rest of the document. Okay, great question. But it's the exact same concept. All right, well, I'm gonna